Hi everyone, I'm Shelly and you're watching There's No Place Like Home. I'm back with another video and today's topic is Tertullian on Daniel's 70 weeks. I often mention the book The Return of Christ, Why Are We Still Waiting by Pete and Rachel Rue because it is a phenomenal book on full preterism, and it is really good for beginners and just a really good overview of what it actually is. And at the end of this book, starting on page 84, they included quotes from many people throughout church history that demonstrate that the idea that the prophetic passages that many people are using for their end of the world scenarios were actually applied to the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70. So this is not new. So many people like to come to my channel and to other channels like mine and say, but what about the early church fathers? They didn't believe this. And, a lot of them don't know what the early church fathers taught or believed. So many people think that the early church fathers were all futurists like they are, especially dispensationalists. And the funny part about it is that dispensationalism wasn't even a thing until the 19th century. So early church fathers, no, they were not dispensationalists. In fact, Charles Spurgeon, he did not like dispensationalism at all. Not that he was an early church father, but he is a well-known theologian in church history. Recent church history. So what I decided to do was about once a week, I'm going to share with you the point of view of one of these either early church fathers or at least someone who was well known in church history to demonstrate that the idea that these prophecies were referring to the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70, it's not new. Now, this is not to say that the people that I'm going to be quoting from every week are full preterists. That's not what I'm saying at all. And like Pete and Rachel Rue said on page 86, we are not claiming that everyone quoted here believed exactly as we do. Most of them would be considered partial preterists. The intent here was to show that throughout the centuries, Bible interpreters have applied many end times passages to the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70. This is not a new idea. So a good place to start then would be Daniel's 70 weeks. Why is it a good place to start? Well, because it is the first one on their list. And being as type A as I am, I like to do things in order. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So first, let's read the passage for Daniel's 70 weeks, and then we will read what Tertullian thought about this. 70 weeks have been decreed for your people and your holy city to finish the transgression, to make an end of sin, to make atonement for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy place. So you are to know and discern that from the issuing of a decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince, there will be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. It will be built again with plaza and moat, even in times of distress. Then, after the 62 weeks, the Messiah will be cut off and have nothing, and the people of the prince who is to come will destroy the city and the sanctuary, and its end will come with a flood. Even to the end there will be war, desolations are determined. And he will make a firm covenant with the many for 1 week, but in the middle of the week he will put a stop to sacrifice and grain offering, and on the wing of abominations will come one who makes desolate, even until a complete destruction, one that is decreed, is poured out on the one who makes desolate. So many people like to apply this to the future Antichrist and the future abomination of desolation. But first, let's actually find out who Tertullian is, just very briefly, for those of you who may not know. I'm just going to share this brief bio about him, just so that you have an idea. So Tertullian was a Roman Christian theologian and writer, and he lived from 155 to 220. This is AD, obviously. Tertullian was a prolific early Christian author from Carthage in the Roman province of Africa. He was the first Christian author to produce an extensive corpus of Latin Christian literature and was an early Christian apologist and a polemicist against heresy, including contemporary Christian Gnosticism. Tertullian was the first theologian to write in Latin, and so has been called the father of Latin Christianity, as well as the founder of Western theology. So, now that you know who Tertullian was, let's find out what he had to say about Daniel's 70 weeks. Vespasian vanquished the Jews in the first year of his reign. By the date of his storming Jerusalem, the Jews had completed the 70 weeks foretold by Daniel. Yes, this early church father, Tertullian, believed that the 70 weeks were completed by the date of the storming of Jerusalem in AD 70. That's the first example, and next week I will share with you Eusebius of Caesarea on Zechariah 14 verses 1 and 2. That's all that I have for today. This is a really short video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one down below. And if you like my work and would like to become a channel member, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. Or you can just click on it right on my channel page. And I hope you have a great day.